If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with another album review for you guys. And today I'm talking about the other big release that came out on September 1st, and that is the latest studio offering from Swedish black metal legends Marduk, MEMENTO Mori. So this came out on Century Media Records, and, well, full disclosure, Marduk has always been one of those black metal bands that's kind of gone a little over my head. Like, I definitely know who they are, and I've definitely heard some stuff, and I have a couple of CDs. I have the Fuck Me Jesus EP and Opus Nocturne, which are classics, but haven't really paid much attention to Marduk, really that much. But when I saw they had a new album coming out, I figured now the time would be right to kind of talk about them. But definitely Marduk is definitely one of those black metal bands that focus primarily on speed and aggression, which sometimes is the type of black metal that I'll tolerate more, because as I say all the time with black metal albums, I am very picky on black metal. Like, if every song is just nothing but tremolo and blast, I'm gonna lose interest in it. This album definitely does rely heavily on tremolos and blast beats, but at least on this album for Marduk, they're able to change things up, whether it be slowing the section down, or perhaps even getting into like thrash metal territory, or even like a double-time death metal stomp. Like the opening track, the title track, after some creepy ambience, you right away get a sinister tremolo and blast beat. But sometimes these tremolo riffs turn very melodic, and even some of the beats will turn thrashy. But here on the title track, you get a little bit of almost like a death metal double-time stomp with a pronounced bass line, which that's one big positive I have about the album. The bass work on here is really flying, and the bass tones are very prevalent in the mix. Like, despite the production itself being quite raw, the mix is pretty solid. Like, you could hear almost everything together in a perfect mix. But Heart of the Funeral, the shortest track of the album at about 2.5 minutes, feels a little bit more galloping. Like, there are a couple of songs where they kind of shift the speed up to a more gallop, like Heart of the Funeral. And I would also say, where was the other one? I keep forgetting it. Marching Bones. Like, both of those songs have more of galloping rhythmical moments that kind of pop up here and there, but Heart of the Funeral was just more or less like a lead-in to the following track, Blood of the Funeral, which was one of my favorites, even though it was mostly all about the tremolos and blasts. You do get some more thrashy tremolo riffs as opposed to blackened tremolo. Like, you get some more thrashy tremolo riffs that come up here and there that are quite memorable, I will say. Some cool ambience comes up here and there. And then another thing that's positive, the drum work. Whether it's blasting or getting even slower, you do get awesome drum fills, and the drum fill on Blood of the Funeral was quite noticeable. But then we get to one of my favorites, maybe my personal favorite, Shovel Beat Scepter. This track, one of the doomier songs of the album, but you still get like a nice tremolo progression, but it feels closer to like Ravishing Grimness era Dark Throne. Like, I kind of got some hints of like a song like Claws of Time a little bit, which is one of my favorite Dark Throne songs. But this kind of feels like Marduk's equivalent to that, where it's slower, it's a little more doom-laden, but you get some cool tremolo progressions coming in here and there. And the melodies that come up definitely felt a lot more somber on this track. Charlatan, quite a punky track. Like, you start off with more of like the Dirk Verburen blast beat and then like triplet tremolo beginning. But you do get some like more thrashy D beats coming up here and there, of course, more tremolo melodies. But things do slow down as the melody does get more somber once again, and then it goes back to that Dirk Blast and triplet tremolo. Coffin Carol, which is, I think, a pretty clever title. This one felt the more closest to like classic Marduk, in my opinion. It's just all blazing fury, soaring tremolo melodies that kind of feel a little more epic, which I never thought I would say when it came to a Marduk song. But you do get a really cool breakdown and even a little clean guitar break and notable bass line. Marching Bones, like I said, towards the end you get more of the galloping blast beat and a riff. But you start off with a marching bass line and a thrashy blast and a melodic tremolo riff that reminded me a little bit of Dissection. But you do get some like really cool drum flare with a different tremolo riff that was more memorable for me. Year of the Maggot opening tremolo riff, which was probably one of the better tremolo riffs to begin the song, as it was filled with even more fury. And then also the most notable things about this track, the cymbal accenting on the blast beats I thought was pretty clever. Start and stop riff and a blast beat, and then a great bass line with that start and stop riff in the background. Red Tree of Blood, probably the fastest track of the album when it came to the overall speed. And then you get to the closer, As We Are, which is the doomiest track of the album. It's almost funeral doom levels of doom, as the drum tones felt closer to funeral doom for the most part, but the riffs that come along carry forth more dread. I even got some like Bathory vibes on here, even in the leads. Like, you really aren't going to get very many guitar solos or lead lines. Like, it's only in As We Are and Blood of the Funeral where you get any kind of lead whatsoever. And then, of course, this song ends with the speed and the tones going back to how it was before this track. But the big notable thing with As We Are, apart from the doomy aspect, this was, I think, one of the last vocal recordings from one LG Petrov from Entombed, rest in peace. And he's more, and you can hear him, it's more faded in the background towards the end of the song, but it's cool that LG had something recorded before he passed away 2.5 years ago, and Marduk wound up using it. But, yeah, the production, it's raw, but you do have a pretty solid mix, and, of course, everybody's firing on all cylinders. Even the vocals sound really disgusting. But, of course, as far as any complaints, of course it goes back to my big pet peeve I have with black metal, and that is when a lot of the songs kind of sound similar in terms of staying in one place with blasts and tremolos. That is a bit of a complaint, because a good chunk, like the majority of this album, follows a similar mold. Tremolos and blasts, maybe change up tremolos to add more melodies, but thankfully you had some different songs on here to break that up some. So that, in my opinion, saves us from getting a lower score. But overall, this was actually not bad. I thought this was actually a pretty solid album. I'm going to give this one a 7.5 out of 10. Of course, like I said, growing pains with constant tremolo and blasts, but at least you had some different ranging songs to kind of break that up, which definitely helps this album a lot, in my opinion. But of course, all of this is just my opinion. But what did you guys think of Marduk's Memento Mori? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.